The greatest story ever told. Tonight we present The Betrayal, the first in a series of 3 Lenten dramas, The Betrayal, The Crucifixion, and The Resurrection, based upon episodes in the greatest life ever lived. The city of Jerusalem is crowded today, for not only is this the beginning of the great feast of the Passover, but the Master is expected. And preceding him has come the strange and inspiring story of the raising of Lazarus. High on the city wall stand the most curious, looking down as the procession of dusty travelers enters the city gates.
So many people, David. I've never seen such a crowd in Jerusalem before.
More than 1 million people, Stephen. All to greet the Master.
And they're all carrying palm leaves. Why? Is that him? The one on the donkey approaching the gate now?
Yes, Stephen, it must be.
But how do you know? I thought that he would look like a prince. A king, even.
It's his eyes. Can't you tell by looking in his eyes how calm and understanding he is?
And I thought he would look like a king.
My mother said you'd never find such peace in a king's eyes.
His donkey's going through the city gate now.
Come to the other side of the wall. We'll see how the people inside the city greet him.
Palms. They're spreading the palms before him. I've never seen that done before.
No one has ever seen a day like this in Jerusalem before.
Those 12 men with him.
His 12 disciples.
See the way the people follow him. They love him. You can see that.
Yes, the people love him. But that may not be enough.
Why not? Why shouldn't it be enough?
You're young, Stephen. You've a great deal to learn. Perhaps you will before you're many days older.
Oh, John, it did my heart good to hear them cheering the Master. You could tell by their cheers that they believe in him now.
Peter, were there ever cheers for one man that didn't disturb other men?
The Romans?
The Romans. And those few traitors among our people who collaborate with them. It's that tight little band of powerful men who run this country and exploit our people. To them, the cheers we heard for the Master today will have ugly echoes.
Let them try anything. I have my sword. I'll cut out the heart of the first man who lays a hand on him.
Threatening again, Peter.
I'm sorry, John. We better get on with the preparations for the feast tonight. The Master asked that all 12 of us eat the Paschal lamb with him.
Yes, we had better help with the preparations. But, Peter,
Yes, John?
Perhaps I'm mistakenly afraid. Forget about it. Let's prepare for tonight.
Well, Annas, did you see it? Didn't I tell you it'd happen? This Nazarene's a menace. You admit that?
Yes, I suppose so, Caiaphas.
You suppose so? Didn't you see it with your own eyes? This isn't just another prophet. I've seen prophets in Jerusalem streets who are looked on as beggars, This man is far more dangerous than that.
What my daughter ever saw in you, Caiaphas, I don't know. But certainly it was not your brains, my dear son-in-law.
Oh, how can you sit there so calmly? This man is dangerous to us.
Us, Caiaphas? I have ruled here in Jerusalem for a great many years. 7 times high priest. I made my 6 sons high priests. And now you, my son-in-law. But I still rule, even though you hold the empty honor of the office.
Yes.
I'll decide who's dangerous. Forget the Nazarene. Let this thing run its course. So they cheer him. In a week, they'll forget him.
You can't put me off so easily. You may travel around under false dignity and deceive yourself, but not me. After all, what are we? Nothing but messengers for the Romans here.
Well-paid messengers, you must grant. But go on. Your excursion into truth has fascinating possibilities.
Let the people groan. Let them complain that they're slaves of Rome. We know better. There's double tyranny here. Rome is at the top, yes, but right beneath them, we stand.
Caiaphas, it's coming close to the holiday eve. Forget this whole thing for a while. After that, we can talk about it if you still insist.
Once the holiday is over, it may do no good to talk. You better listen to me now.
Oh, well.
We must be practical about this. We made our deal with the Romans. They want taxes and tranquility, and we promised to deliver that to them.
And haven't they?
So far.
Well, then.
That Nazarene, that one for whom they paved the street with palm leaves, that man is our enemy. Our percentages from taxes, the money we make from sales of doves and lambs for sacrifice in the temple. We stand to lose all that if he's allowed to expose us.
I repeat, pay him no attention and the people will forget about him.
Forget about... Did you hear what he did this morning in the temple? He overturned the tables of the money changers, and he told the people that they don't have to buy doves and lambs from us for sacrifice anymore.
No more sacrifices?
No.
Our whole business endangered? That's going too far. Maybe you're right.
Just as I say, we must get rid of this Nazarene.
Well, what do you propose?
I've done more than propose.
You've taken steps?
Of course.
Well?
This.
Bag of silver? What for?
It's simple.
Don't smile. Talk.
Among 12 men, any 12 men, there must be at least one who's vulnerable.
Is there?
Yes, and I found him.
How much?
For 30 pieces of silver.
30.
Little enough, isn't it?
Indeed. And the name of this vulnerable person?
The name? It's, I'd almost forgotten. His name is, Judas.
Shall I place the chalice here, John?
Yes, Peter, at the master's place. The master has never made such special preparations before, Peter.
I know. But we must do as we are told. Didn't we meet the man just as the master said we would? And when we asked the man for this upper room in his house on Mount Zion in which to have this supper, didn't the man agree without a word?
Yes, Peter, but that's all part of the mystery. Why all these special preparations? If it were just for the Passover... Who is there?
It's only I. May I help with the preparations?
Of course, Judas. The master will be here soon.
Good. I help with the dishes.
Something wrong, Judas?
What? No, nothing wrong. The plate, it just slipped out of my hand.
Then you must feel it, too.
Feel it? Feel what?
This strange thing in the air.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Judas. I didn't mean to alarm you.
John thinks something's going to happen tonight. He has a feeling.
Well, I can't agree with him.
Please, Judas. Nothing to become so wrought up about.
I'm sorry.
Now, let's get on with things.
Oh, here come the rest.
Welcome, brothers. We are all here now, all 12 of us. Come, let us take our places at the table. And now when the master arrives, we shall begin the supper.
John, now that we've gathered here at the supper, what will the Master do?
I don't know, Peter.
I'm beginning to sense that feeling you spoke of.
There is something in his eyes that was not there before. Wait, he's reaching for a basin.
Oh, here, Master. Here's the basin. And a pitcher of water. It's very strange, John.
Peter, he's kneeling before you.
He's going to... Wait, Master, wait. Do you wash my feet? I should wash yours.
What I do, you know not, but you shall know hereafter.
No, Master. You shall never wash my feet.
If I wash you not, you have no part of me.
Then, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Master.
Was there ever a man who showed greater humility?
And now, he is beginning to wash the feet of the others, too.
Yes, Peter.
If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you an example that ye should do as I have done to you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than the master.
The Master is troubled, John. What did he mean before when he said he desired to eat his Passover with us? Before he suffers.
He knows a great deal more than he has told us, Peter.
I've come to believe as you have. There is something evil in the air.
Wait. He's saying the blessing over the bread now. He's beginning to break the bread into small pieces.
Yes. And see how many pieces.
How many? Wait. 10, 11, 12. 12 pieces.
One for each of us. I'd better help him distribute them.
This is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me.
But, Master...
Eat, Peter. The chalice, Peter. He's reaching for it. Fill it for him.
Yes, John.
It's blessed now. Take it. Pass it for each man to drink.
Yes, John.
This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me.
Is it I, Lord?
Is it I, Lord?
Is it I, Lord?
Behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table.
Judas! John, did you see? Judas' hand. It was on the table. He tried to remove it quickly and knocked the dish to the floor.
Wait, Peter.
Judas, he's going.
That which you do, Do quickly, Judas.
We should stop Judas, John. We must.
Wait, Peter. If the master had wanted Judas stopped, wouldn't he have said so?
But you heard it just as I heard it. He said that Judas was going to betray him.
Can you object if the master doesn't?
Oh, John, this is wrong, all wrong. We should do something.
We should do what we've pledged ourselves to do. Follow the master's words. Wait, Peter.
All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered.
No, Lord, no. Whoever may be offended because of you, I will not. I will go to prison with you. I will even go to death with you. Believe me, Master. Believe me.
I say unto you that this day, even in this night, before the cock crows twice, you shall deny me 3 times.
No, Master. If I should die with you, I would still not deny you. Not in any way, Master. Not in any way.
That must be the one I'm expecting, Annas.
Well, let him in, Caiaphas. If we must do this, let's have it done.
You still don't believe this is the right way?
Do you?
I'd better let him in. Well, come in. Annas, this is the man I told you about. The only one of the 12 that has any sense.
Let's not have so much talk.
What's the matter, Judas?
Nothing. Only what we have to do, let's do it quickly, just as he said.
Who said?
No one. What do you want me to do now?
Tell us where we can find him.
I will take you to him when it is dark.
Well, how will we know him in the dark?
I will point him out to you.
How?
How? I don't know.
That was part of the bargain.
Well, he will... I don't know.
Oh, well, I'll tell you how. You'll go to him and kiss him in greeting. Yes, that's it.
I'll do it. The soldiers will be there?
My own personal guard.
Then it's done.
And here's your money.
Now, get out.
Yeah. See how easy it is?
You picked one with a weak stomach. Did you see his face when you tossed the coins to him?
Well, tell me, Annas, what kind of a face should a traitor have?
A traitor? Well, it might be a smiling face. Even a laughing face. With no creases in the forehead. That's a traitor for you.
Well, why are you looking at me that way?
How else could I describe your face so exactly?
Yes, well, you've had enough fun at my expense, but one of these days you'll thank me for this.
Do you realize, Caiaphas, that if you carry this thing through, you'll have innocent blood on your hands?
Afraid. Everyone's afraid, except me.
Sometimes it takes a certain amount of courage even to be afraid.
A glib excuse for cowardice.
Caiaphas, I was ruling these people even before you were born. I know their temper. I know how far you can go with them. And more important, I know how far you dare not go.
That man must be destroyed.
And what excuse will you give the people when it happens?
We won't give them any excuse. We'll confront them with a fact and make them accept it. You can't argue with a fact.
And enraged people can change facts.
Oh, nonsense. If the man is dead, he's dead. Nothing can change that.
And if he's dead, will our people stand for that? He has healed their sick, made their blind to see, raised their dead. They love him.
Yes, and that's why he must go.
Have you thought of the mobs that will form in front of Pilate's palace before this deed can be done?
Oh, mobs. You're getting old, Annas.
What do you mean by that?
There'll be no mobs.
Tomorrow, when they all go seeking him and don't find him, they'll want to know where he is. They'll suspect some trickery. They'll go to Pilate's palace and demonstrate. And you know how Pilate hates crowds of people in front of the palace.
Listen, by tomorrow, this whole thing will be over.
You have thought this out, haven't you?
Indeed, I have.
Before dawn, this thing must be done, finished, complete. If it's to be done at all.
You can't do that. You know you can't.
I know I can.
Pilate must condemn the man to death.
He will.
Why?
The people will force him to.
The people? Are you mad, Caiaphas?
Well, who are the people? A handful of men. 10, 20, 50? How many people make up the people?
Oh, what sort of stupid question is that at such a time as this?
I will supply the people.
The same people who welcomed this man into Jerusalem today, the people who love him, you think they'll turn against him now?
No, but Pilate need never know that.
Oh.
The beggars, the fools, the drunkards, the crooked, they'll be the people before dawn this morning, and I will hire them.
You'd have him caught, tried, convicted, and sentenced to death before morning?
Yes.
To hold a trial at night and on a holiday is illegal. You can't do it.
I've already issued the orders for the judges to assemble at my palace.
John,
Yes, Peter?
why here? Why has the Master brought us to Gethsemane?
I don't know.
He seems to know that he will die. Everything he has said and done this night shows that.
And if that is so,
What did he mean that he would rise again and go before us into Galilee?
we will have to wait and see.
And when he said that I would deny him 3 times before the cock crows, that can't be.
He knew about Judas.
I won't vouch for anyone else, John. But for myself, I know what I will do. How could I ever deny him? After all he's taught me, after all he's shown me, could I deny him now?
If he said it, it will happen, Peter.
It won't. I tell you, John, it won't happen. I'll never deny him.
Lower your voice, Peter. The others sleep.
I'm tired myself. It's been a long day full of strange incidents.
It's been that.
And now the Master kneels off there by himself. Why, John?
He's praying. Praying to his Father against the hour of suffering he knows will come.
Then we better not talk anymore. We may disturb him.
O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Peter.
What? Oh, Master. Forgive me. I must have fallen asleep.
Could ye not watch with me 1 hour?
Forgive me, Master. John, we've fallen asleep. Wake up. Wake.
Wake?
Yes,
Was I asleep, Peter?
we were all asleep. John, you hear? Marching feet.
Yes. We'd best lead the Master away from here.
Come, Master, come with us. We'll hide you, keep you safe. Please, Master, this time come with us.
Rise. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me.
John, what shall we do?
What can we do?
I have a sword with me.
Don't use it, Peter. Would you offend him now?
Oh!
Look, Peter, in the flickering light of the torches. Soldiers.
Yes. John, look who's with them.
Judas.
Judas, indeed.
But the Master stands his ground.
He doesn't want to save himself.
He knows it is the will of his Father in heaven.
Well, go on.
It's Judas. He's coming forward toward the Master.
Don't draw your sword, Peter. Not now.
They won't take him. I tell you, they won't take him.
Guards, surround them all. Go ahead, Judas.
He's kissing him.
Hail, Master.
Friend, wherefore are you come?
He's the one. Seize him.
Wait! Don't put a hand on him. The first man who reaches out to touch him will feel this sword in his throat.
Peter, put up again thy sword into his place. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword.
But, Master, no.
Please, Peter, do as he says.
They'll take him without a hand reached out to help him?
It is the way he wants.
Surround him. Lay them off. March.
Master. Oh, Master.
Keep marching.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Family Theater, starring Miss Ethel Barrymore, the Mitchell Boy Choir, and the music of Meredith Wilson. Charles Boyer is your host.
More things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of. Good evening. This is Charles Boyer. As your host for this evening, I should tell you something about family theater and a story you will hear tonight. Therefore, if I may, I would like to remind you that family theater is dedicated to your family, with the hope that your family would always be happy. As you probably know, many of us in all phases of the entertainment industry join with so many of you in the sincere belief that a happy family is a family that acknowledges God and seeks His help. To put it another way, a family that prays together stays together. Now, about tonight's story. There is very little that can be added to its own great words. It is the passion, death, and resurrection, adapted especially for radio by John Slott and narrated by Miss Ethel Barrymore. In these days of a slow dawning toward a new world of peace, we need the old words to guide us. And what greater words can we thus express for this festival day than the words of the Passion, death, and resurrection?
It came to pass, when Jesus had ended all these words, he said to his disciples, "You know that after 2 days shall be the Pasch, and the Son of Man shall be delivered up to be crucified." Then were gathered together the chief priests and ancients of the people into the court of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. And they consulted together that by subtlety they might apprehend Jesus and put him to death. But they said not on the festival day, lest perhaps there should be tumult among the people. And when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, they came to him a woman having an alabaster box of precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he was at table. And the disciples, seeing it, had indignation, saying, "To what purpose is this waste? For this might have been sold for much and given to the poor." And Jesus, knowing it, said to them, "Why do you trouble this woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For the poor you have always with you, but me you have not always. For she, in pouring this ointment upon my body, hath done it for my burial. And I say to you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, that also which she hath done shall be told for a memory of her." Then went one of the 12, who was called Judas Iscariot, to the chief priests, and said to them, "What will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you?" But they appointed him 30 pieces of silver, and from thenceforth he sought opportunity to betray him. And on the first day of their Azims, the disciples came to Jesus, saying, "Where wilt that we prepare for thee to eat the Pasch?" But Jesus said, "Go ye into the city to a certain man, and say to him, The Master saith, My time is near at hand. With thee I make the Pasch with my disciples." And the disciples did as Jesus appointed to them, and they prepared the Pasch. But when it was evening, he sat down with his 12 disciples. And whilst they were eating, he said, "And I say to you that one of you is about to betray me." And they, being very troubled, began every one to say, "Is it I, Lord?" But he answering said, "He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, he shall betray me. The Son of Man indeed goeth as it is written of him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man shall be betrayed. It were better for him if that man had not been born." And Judas that betrayed him answering said, "Is it I, Rabbi?" He saith to him, "Thou hast said it." And whilst they were at supper, Jesus took bread and blessed and broke, and gave to his disciples, and said, "Take ye and eat. This is my body." And taking the chalice, he gave thanks and gave to them, saying, Drink ye all of this, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which shall be shed for many unto remissions of sins. And I say to you, I will not drink from henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until that day when I shall drink it with you new in the kingdom of my Father. And to him being said, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Jesus said to Peter, And I say to thee that in this night before the cock crow, thou wilt deny me thrice. Peter saith to him, Yea, though I should die with thee, I will not deny thee. And in like manner said all the disciples. Then Jesus came with them into a country place which is called Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, Sit you here till I go yonder and pray. And taking with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he began to grow sorrowful and to be sad. Then he saith to them, My soul is sorrowful even unto death. Stay you here and watch with me. And going a little further, he fell upon his face, praying and saying, My Father, if it be possible, let this chalice pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh to his disciples and findeth them asleep. And he saith to Peter, What? Could you not watch 1 hour with me? Watch ye and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh weak. Again the second time he went and prayed, saying, My Father, if this chalice may not pass away, but I must drink it, thy will be done. And he cometh again and findeth them sleeping, for their eyes are heavy. And leaving them he went again, and he prayed the third time, saying the self-same word. Then he cometh to his disciples and saith to them, Sleep ye now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Behold, he is at hand that will betray me. And as he yet spoke, behold, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the ancients of the people. And he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that is he, hold him fast. And forthwith coming to Jesus, he said, Hail, Rabbi, and he kissed him. And Jesus said to him, Friend, whereto art thou come? Then they came up and laid hands on Jesus and held him. And behold, one of them that were with Jesus, stretching forth his hand, drew out his sword, and striking the servant of the high priest, cut off his ear. Then Jesus saith to him, Put up again the sword into its place, for all that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou I cannot ask my Father, and he will give me presently more than 12 legions of angels? How then shall the Scriptures be fulfilled, that so it must be done? In that same hour Jesus said to the multitudes, You are come out, as it were, to a robber, with swords and clubs to apprehend me. I sat daily with you teaching in the temple. You laid not hands on me. Now all this was done, that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then the disciples, all leaving him, fled. But they, holding Jesus, led him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the ancients were assembled. And the chief priests and the whole council sought false witness against Jesus, that they might put him to death. And they found not, whereas many false witnesses had come in. And last of all, there came 2 false witnesses. And they said, This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God, and after 3 days to rebuild it. And the high priest, rising up, said to him, Answerest thou nothing to the things which these witness against thee? But Jesus held his peace, and the high priest said to him, I adjure thee by the living God that thou tellest if thou be the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus saith to him, Thou hast said it. Nevertheless I say to you, hereafter you shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of the power of God, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest rent his garments, saying, He hath blasphemed. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now you have heard the blasphemy. What think you? But they answering said, He is guilty of death. Peter sat without in the court, and there came to him a servant maid, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus the Galilean. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And as he went out of the gate, another maid saw him, and she saith to them that were there, This man also was with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied it with an oath, I know not the man. And after a little while they came that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for even thy speech doth discover thee. Then he began to curse and to swear that he knew not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus which he had said, Before the cock crow thou wilt deny me thrice. And going forth he wept bitterly. When morning was come, all the chief priests and ancients of the people took counsel against Jesus, that they might put him to death. And they brought him bound and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, who betrayed him, seeing that he was condemned, repenting himself, brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and ancients, saying, I have sinned in betraying innocent blood. But they said, what is that to us? Look thou to it. And casting down the pieces of silver in the temple, he departed and went and hanged himself. But the chief priests, having taken the pieces of silver, said, it is not lawful to put them into the corbona, because it is the price of blood. And after they had counseled together, they brought with them the potter's field, to be a burying place for strangers. For this cause that field was called Haseldana, that is, the field of blood, even to this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was prized, whom they prized of the children of Israel, and they gave them unto the potter's field, as the Lord appointed me. Now upon the solemn day the governor was accustomed to release to the people one prisoner. Pilate saith to them, What shall I do then with Jesus that is called Christ? And they all said, Let him be crucified. The governor said to them, Why, what evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. And Pilate, seeing that he prevailed nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, taking water, washed his hands before the people, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just man. Look you to it. And the whole people answering said, His blood be upon us and upon our children. Then having scourged Jesus, he delivered them unto them to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor, taking Jesus into the hall, gathered together unto him the whole band, and stripping him, they put a scarlet cloak about him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head, and a reed in his right hand, and bowing the knee before him, they mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And spitting upon him, they took the reed and struck his head. And after they had mocked him, they took off the cloak from him and put on his own garments, and led him away to crucify him. And going out, they found a man of Cyrene, named Simon. Him they forced to take up his cross. And they came to the place that is called Golgotha, which is the place of Calvary. And they gave him wine to drink mingled with gall. And when he tasted it, he would not drink. And after they had crucified him, they divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, They divided my garments among them, and upon my vesture they cast lots, and they sat and watched him. And they put over his head his cause, written, This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Crucified with him 2 thieves, one on the right hand and one on the left. And they that passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads, saying, Vah, thou that destroyest the temple of God, and in 3 days dost rebuild it, save thy own self. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. In like manner also the chief priests with the scribes and ancients, mocking, said, He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God, let him now deliver him, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. from the 6th hour there was darkness over the whole earth until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? My God, why hast thou forsaken me? And some that stood there and heard said, This man calleth Elias. And immediately one of them running took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. And the other said, Let be, let us see whether Elias will come to deliver him. And Jesus again, crying with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in two, from top even to the bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints that had slept arose. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they came into the holy city and appeared to many. Now the centurion and they that were with him, watching Jesus, having seen the earthquake and the things that were done, were sore afraid, saying, Indeed, this was the Son of God. The Sabbath, when it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and coming rolled back the stone and sat upon it. And his countenance was a lightning, and his raiment as snow. And the angel answering said to the women, Fear not you, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come and see the place where the Lord was laid. And the 11 disciples went into Galilee unto the mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And seeing him they adored, but some doubted. And Jesus coming spoke to them, saying, All power is given to me in heaven and in earth. Go therefore, teach ye all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you all days, even to the end of the world.
This is Charles Boyer again. I'm sure you were just as moved as I was with Miss Barrymore's reading from the New Testament. The story you heard tonight is a true story, hundreds of years old. It's a story that will never die so long as someone lives to read it or to tell it. And that story is especially wonderful for this program, Family Theater, because it is a story of sacrifice. And after all, the story of your family, of any good family, is a story of sacrifice, is it not? What mother has not given up so much for her children? What father has not sacrificed for his wife and family? Keeping a family together, whether that family is just two people, a husband and a wife, or a big family with many children, keeping that family together and happy demands continual sacrifice on your part. Sometimes the things you must do and the things you must do without are almost too much to bear. But you need never despair, because you can do anything with help. And you can always get the most wonderful, most powerful help in all the world just by asking for it. Ask God for his help. His help is so easy to get. Just say a prayer, and say that prayer together with your family. A family that prays together stays together. So tonight and every night, thank God for what you have and ask him for what you need. And if you have never turned to God before and you turn to him now, this will indeed be a joyful and happy Easter for you and your family. Before saying good night, I want to express our thanks to all of you who have helped make this program possible. A special word of praise to John Slott for his adaptation, and to Bob Mitchell for directing the choir. Thanks also to Mel Williamson for directing our play tonight, and to our producer, Bob Longnecker. Next week, our stars on the Family Theater will be James Craig and Jane Wyatt, with John Charles Thomas as your host. Good night.
This series of the Family Theater broadcast is made possible by the thousands of you who felt a need for this kind of program, by the Mutual Network, which has responded to this need, and by the actors and technicians in the motion picture and radio industries who have volunteered their services to fulfill it. Tony Lafrano speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
I do the very best I know how, the very best I can. And if the end brings me out wrong, 10 angels swearing I was right would make no difference.
Mr. President, starring Edward Arnold and written by Gene Holloway. Mr. President at home in the White House, the elected leader of our people, our fellow citizen and neighbor. These are little-known stories of the men who have lived in the White House. Dramatic, exciting events in their lives that you and I so rarely hear. True human stories of Mr. President.
Our Mr. President drama will begin in just a moment. The American concept of the president as a federal executive is unique in the history of world politics. When our Constitution was framed, many Americans thought president was just another word for king. In fact, some of the titles suggested as appropriate for the new head of state were Your Majesty the President, Your Mightiness, and Your Excellency. But Washington chose president, meaning the one who presides. A wise choice, for an American president is very much like a presiding chairman of the board who must maintain peace and amity among other divisions of the government. To such a coordinator come inevitable compromises, adjustments, and personal disappointments. You'll hear them dramatically presented now on Mr. President. So listen and see if you can name the president upon whom this episode is based.
The incidents I have in mind today tell the story of a president in a strange dream. It's a story we've told before on this series, but one which we feel is well worth hearing again, especially during the Easter season. Later on, of course, I'll tell you which president this happened to. But meanwhile, you may be able to guess. He woke early. He woke to an unaccustomed, wonderful feeling of great happiness, and for a moment he lay there wondering why. And then suddenly the warm, reassuring knowledge started pulsing through him again. The long war was over. He got up, put on a dressing gown, and went over to the window. He stood there looking out at the calm, sweet coming of the Washington dawn. From his window he could see the flags and buntings of victory, and he stood there grinning at them. Suddenly his bedroom door opened cautiously.
Oh, good morning, Father. I thought you'd be up.
Oh, good morning, son. You're up early.
Well, I woke up. What are you going to do today?
Oh, nothing very unusual. Office business, interviews, a cabinet meeting. Tonight I think your mother and I are going out.
You forgot the War Department.
Oh, yes, I did.
You never mentioned them once. They wouldn't like that.
Well, I'll have to go to the War Department at least twice, though.
It looks like it's going to be a nice day.
Yes, indeed. You know, sometimes you wake up and you think, this is my day. This is the day when things are going to go well for me. From beginning to end, this is my day. Didn't you ever feel that way?
Yes, sir. A couple of times. And every time I did, I ended up getting a licking.
Oh, and speaking of lickings, that reminds me. You are not to stand downstairs where the people wait for their interviews and charge them 5 cents to see me.
Well, it's a very reasonable rate.
Well, that's not the point.
Well, you said you wanted me to be enterprising.
Well, you'll have to find some other way to do it.
Well, Secretary Stanton scolded me about that, too. He said you weren't worth 5 cents.
Oh, he did?
He said when anyone could see her for nothing, why should some people have to pay 5 cents? I don't think it's right. They should have to pay.
Why?
Because I need the money.
Oh, I see.
Oh, good morning, Mother.
Good morning. I thought I'd find you two in here together. Morning, dear.
Good morning.
Did you have a good night's sleep?
Wonderful, Mary. And how about you?
Well, the shouting in the streets kept me awake. Everyone's certainly excited about the prospect of peace.
Well, those same voices put me to sleep. And it was the first good night's sleep I've had in months.
Well, it's been a strain, but it's almost over now. Oh, son.
Yes, Mother?
There's a woman downstairs with a tray of apples and gingerbread and candy that she says you bought.
I'll go right down.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, steady. What's this all about?
I'm setting up a fruit stand down the grand corridor.
You're doing what?
A fruit stand. I'm going to show the people who are waiting in line to see Father.
Now, see here, don't you laugh at him. You'll only encourage him.
Yes, you're right. Son, what did I just explain to you about people waiting for interviews?
You said I couldn't charge them 5 cents to see you.
Well, I should think not.
But I'm not charging them to see Father now. I'm charging them for apples. This time they're getting something for their money.
Oh, indeed.
Well, you can't do it, and that's final.
Now, wait a minute, dear, wait a minute. Where did you get the money to buy this woman's stock?
I saved my pocket money, and I got a few things from the White House kitchen by saying I was hungry. And one of the carpenters got me a pair of trestles and a wide board to put the things on.
In the corridor of the White House.
Well, I'm an American citizen. I got rights.
You haven't any rights to peddle things in the White House.
But I've already bought the things.
All right. Now, you go see your woman and set up your store.
Gee, thanks, Father. I knew you wouldn't let Mother take away my rights.
Oh, we'll be the laughing stock of Washington.
My dear, he has to have a chance to learn a few things for himself, even if he is the son of a president. All children are entitled to put up some sort of a lemonade stand once in their lives.
All right, Mr. President.
Come here by the window, my dear. And let me put my arm around you. That's a fine sight down there. Look at those red, white, and blue decorations. The Yankee Doodle colors of freedom and liberty and justice for all.
Oh, it's good to see you so happy, dear.
Oh, I am happy for the first time in a long, long while. I am happy. I can see an end to the in sight now. Peace for the country and time for you and me to settle down and love one another. I'm afraid I haven't had much time to be a husband the past few years.
I can't imagine a more fortunate woman in the nation than your wife, Mr. President.
Oh, God, love you for saying that.
Oh, darling, put me down. Suppose someone came in.
Remember when I used to spin you around
like
this?
Someone might see.
And if they do?
Well, isn't it important that the President and his wife have dignity?
No, dear. Not half so important as that the President and his wife be human beings. I love you, and I don't care if the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the War Department know it.
Oh, stop.
And see that I get a big breakfast this morning. Double on everything. You know, I could eat the White House.
Yes, sir. Oh, I meant to ask you. Sunday's Easter. You'll want to give some sort of message, won't you?
Is Sunday Easter?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I lost track of time. Then this is Good Friday.
Yes, Good Friday.
Mm-hmm. Well, the news of peace will certainly make it a joyous Easter. Woman, what about my breakfast? I'm hungry.
Immediately, Mr. President.
Thank you.
The streets are crowded with people.
Oh, don't talk with your mouth full, son.
Yes, it certainly is an exciting day.
The general's arrived at the War Department.
Oh, he has he? And how is it that you get so much information before I do?
Oh, I got connections.
Well, then maybe you know if the general and his wife are joining your father and me tonight. I sent over a note asking them to go to the theater with us, dear.
He doesn't know yet.
Oh, he doesn't? And how do you know that?
He hasn't had a chance to ask his wife.
Are you inferring that a general who makes decisions involving thousands of men has to ask his wife if he can go out?
Yes, sir.
Mary, do you consider that democracy?
No, sir. That's marriage.
Hello, Dad, Mother.
Robert!
Robert,
Oh,
well,
Robert!
Robert! Did you bring me any guns?
It's so good to see you. You look fine.
Oh, Robert, I've been so worried. We expected you in on leave last night. Sit down and have some breakfast. There's muffins and the war's over. Isn't it wonderful?
It is wonderful, and I'm starved.
Did you get wounded any place?
No.
Oh.
Did you want your brother to get wounded?
Everybody I know has a wounded brother but me.
Well, I'm glad I can't accommodate you.
Sit down and have some breakfast, my son. Sit down.
We're going to the theater tonight, Robert. Would you like to go?
Oh, I don't think so. Thank you, Mother. I think I'd just like to sit around and enjoy being home tonight.
If anyone asks me, that is what I'd say.
When you're bigger, we'll ask you.
Well, I'd better be getting back to my desk. Speaker Colfax is coming over this morning to discuss government policy, and Congressman Cole from California, and John Creswell, and...
Father, why do they call it Good Friday?
Why, it's the day that Christ was crucified, son.
Well, why do they call it good?
Because Christ was good.
But it wasn't a Good Friday. It was a bad Friday.
Son, I don't have the time to talk to you about it now, but you and I'll have a talk in the morning, shall we?
I'll be glad when it's tomorrow.
Why?
I don't like today.
You mean you don't like this day, or you don't like Good Friday?
I don't know which it is, but it isn't a good day. It's a bad day.
Son.
It's a bad day.
Well, son, don't talk like that.
Yeah, I wonder why you should feel that way, my boy.
You didn't feel that way until I came in, did you?
No.
I know what it is. I've heard men talk like that at the front, just before a battle. It's a sudden feeling of death in the air. It's because I've come back from the front.
Theodore, come on. Let's you and I go see to your fruit stand.
Yes, sir.
You'll forget all about it in a few minutes.
It's not you, Robert. I know it isn't you. It's Good Friday.
Come on, dear.
Go with your mother, son.
Yes, sir.
It's strange.
Don't worry about it. He's pretty sensitive, and the combination of Good Friday and me coming back.
Well, I'll have to talk to him about Easter the first minute I can. I don't think he understands it at all.
Dear, do you mind terribly if we don't go to see Aladdin?
Oh, I thought you wanted to see Aladdin.
Well, Laura Keene is playing in Our American Cousin, and it's a benefit as well as her last appearance there, and I thought it might be nice if we went to see her.
Well, why not, if that's what you'd enjoy, my dear?
All right. I'll send word to the theater.
Robert, you go ahead with your breakfast. I'm going to the War Department.
Right.
You take a look at your brother after a while and see if he's all right, will you?
Sure.
You'll find him in the grand corridor selling apples.
Oh, sure. Doing what?
Selling apples.
What for?
For money.
He's going to make money selling apples?
He thinks he is, but by the time he reimburses the White House kitchen for whatever he talked them out of, pays the carpenter for the use of the bench, and pays the government rent on the space in the corridor, he's not going to come out very well. I'll see you this afternoon. Robert, I'm awfully glad you're home.
morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary. General, it's good to see you. How are you, sir?
Tired, but healthy as an ox.
I'm glad to hear it. You're looking well. Victory becomes you.
Thank you, sir. You seem in unusual spirits today, Mr. President.
Yes. Sit down, gentlemen. Sit down. I woke up feeling genuinely happy for the first time in years. You know something? We're going to receive good news today, Stanton. And Stanton, last night I had that dream again.
Oh, did you, Mr. President?
What
dream was that, sir?
Well, I've dreamt it before every one of the important events of the war. I dream that I'm on a strange ship, a singular, indescribable vessel, and that I'm moving towards a dark, indefinite shore. And every time I dream it, victory follows. Isn't that right, Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, that's what you say, Mr. President. I have no way of verifying your dreams.
By the way, General, my wife tells me she's invited you and your wife to the theater with us tonight.
Mr. President, you can't go to the theater tonight.
Why not?
It's not safe.
Oh, nonsense.
Why, if you and the General attended, it would be an admirable time for an assassin to kill both of you.
Oh, you're an alarmist, Stanton, isn't it, General?
I'm afraid I'm on the Secretary's side in this, Mr. President. I think it would be most unwise for you to make a public appearance at this time.
Well, I make public appearances every day, and nobody's shot me yet. You're getting to be a terrible nuisance, Stanton. For 3 years, every time I step out, cavalry, foot guards, plainclothes attendants spring from everywhere. I can't even go to the office alone.
It's one of the penalties of being president.
Oh, it's a lot of nonsense.
Well, sir, in any case, I couldn't accompany you because I'm starting for home this afternoon to see my children. It's been a long time since I've seen...
I understand. Please take them my good wishes.
Well, why don't you stay home and have a nice evening with your family, Mr. President?
Because I am going to the theater. I want a little relaxation. I'll take Eckert with me.
Now, sir...
Did you know Eckert can break a poker over his arm, Mr. Secretary?
Mr. President, whether Eckert can break a poker over his arm or not is completely outside the point.
Oh, no, it isn't. No assassin would dare touch me with Eckert along.
Eckert will be working with me tonight here at the War Department.
Mr. Secretary, I'll wager that you're the kind of a man that goes to a zoo and doesn't take any peanuts.
Whatever you may think of me, Mr. President, Eckert will still be working tonight.
Very well, Mr. Secretary. I'll take Major Rathbun along. He isn't under your jurisdiction.
Oh, Mr. President, if you'd only listen.
Oh, smile, Mr. Secretary. The war is over. Peace is at hand. Surely even the President of the United States is entitled to one evening of relaxation.
But he doesn't have to go to the theater for it.
No, sir. I am going to the theater. My wife's going to get dressed up in her prettiest gown, and we're going to forget there was such a thing as a war for one whole evening. I tell you, today is my day, Stanton. From beginning to end, it's my day.
Very well, Mr. President.
You will see that Major Rathbun receives my invitation.
Yes, I'll see that he receives it.
Good. Come, General. It's time for the cabinet meeting.
Yes, Mr. President.
It does me good to get the best of you once in a while, Mr. Secretary. There's nothing I enjoy more than to win an argument with you.
I hope you have won this argument, Mr. President. I sincerely hope you've won it.
In just a moment, we'll come back to Edward Arnold and Mr. President.
You know, it's been said that youth is too good to be wasted on the young. Well, that point is, of course, a moot one, but it is a fact that youth is too good to be wasted on tuberculosis, which took nearly 50,000 victims last year alone. 50,000 wasted lives is tragic. But the real tragedy lies in the fact that these deaths were unnecessary because tuberculosis can be cured if detected in time. Now, in the early stages, TB frequently has no symptoms, but its presence is easily detected with a chest X-ray. In some places, you can get a chest X-ray free or at a nominal cost through your local tuberculosis association or health department. To be sure that you're not one of the over 500,000 people in the United States estimated to have TB, to protect yourself, to protect your family, have a chest X-ray taken as soon as possible. And now back to Edward Arnold and Mr. President.
You've probably guessed the name of the president in this story. Later on, of course, I'll tell you which one it was. After the cabinet meeting, the president had his lunch, and the excited voices of the people jubilantly crowding the streets of Washington lifted inside him. It was their day, and it was his. God was in his heaven, and all was right with the Union. After lunch, he started for his office.
Would you like to buy an apple, sir?
Oh, hello, son. Yes, I think an apple is just what I need to polish off my lunch. Tell me, how's business?
Oh, here you are. 5 cents, please.
No, I have it right here.
Business is slow this afternoon. Most everyone is going to church.
Yes, of course. Oh, that reminds me. I must think about some sort of an Easter message.
Father, why was Christ crucified?
Well, because there were people who hated him, son. People who didn't understand what he was trying to do.
Bad people?
Do you know what Christ said about them as he was dying? He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
And this was the day it happened?
Yes. This was the day it happened.
Well, could he have saved himself?
Yes.
Well, why didn't he?
Because he wanted to show you and me and all the people before us and after us that death was not an end, that we should not be afraid.
Well, I'm afraid today, Father.
Of what, my boy?
I don't know. Could I sleep with you tonight?
Of course.
Do you have to go to the theater?
Now, don't you start on me.
Well, I'm lonesome for you.
But how could you be lonesome for me when I'm right here?
Well, I know, but I'm still lonesome for you.
Son, I don't quite understand what's wrong with you today. I don't know what to say to you.
Oh, here you are. This is the hardest house to find anyone in. Dear, I wondered if you wanted to take anyone else on our drive this afternoon. You have so many old friends in town.
Oh, no. Let's you and I go by ourselves this afternoon. Mary, what do you think about the theater party? Do you still want to go?
Well, dear, it's been announced that you'll be there now, and I think they've planned some special ceremony.
Oh, then of course we'll go. I wouldn't want to disappoint the people.
I thought you wanted to go.
Well, I did, but Robert's come home when the little fellow was upset. Well, it's been announced, and we'll go. I'd better get to my office.
The carriage will be ready late this afternoon.
Good. I'll enjoy a ride. This time of year, it's nice to get out into the country. Oh, there.
Why are you stopping, dear?
Oh, it's so beautiful out here today. You know, Mary, it's good to be alive and to have you and the boys and a land like this to live in. Mary, as soon as these 4 years are over, let's find ourselves a farm on the banks of the Sangamon. And I'll take up my law practice again. Would you like that?
I'd love it.
And you and I will go to the country dances and show our children a thing or two, and I'll kiss you in the moonlight on the way home, just as though we were courting all over again, huh?
Oh, my dear, I love you so. Maybe the last few years I haven't said it as often as I felt it, but I respect you and honor you and love you with my whole heart. And to have you to myself again. Oh, my dear, if it only happened.
It's going to happen, my dear. We're going to settle down and live happily ever after. You and I and the children.
You know, I've only seen you this joyous once before in my whole life.
The night before we were married?
No. The night before our son William died.
Mary?
It's almost frightening to see you like this. As though someone thought, let him be very happy today. Let him laugh. So that he'll be able to take the tears that will come tomorrow.
Mary?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I've been thinking it all day.
You and the boy?
It's foolish of me. Come on, dear. We better start back. You still have some more interviews and another trip to the War Department to make before we can go to the theater.
All right, Mary. All right. Come on, boy. Hey.
It's an exciting day, isn't it, Mr. President?
Yes, it is indeed, Mr. Crook. I'm sorry you have to walk along with me. I'm sure you'd like to be celebrating.
Oh, I'll celebrate later, sir.
You know, I've been doing a lot of thinking today. I'm always joking with Stanton about all this mythical assailant, but I believe there are men who want to take my life. And I have no doubt they'll do it.
This isn't like you, Mr. President.
And it would be easy to do this very minute. Someone could shoot from a window or from around a corner.
If anything happened to you, sir, it'd be the end of the country.
No. Don't you think it for 1 minute. This country isn't dependent on any one man. It isn't the leader that makes the country. It's the country that makes the leader. It isn't the man that makes the office of president. It's the office of president that makes the man. I am what the majority of the American people who elected me want me to be. When someone else takes my place, he'll be what the majority want him to be, or he won't be president very long.
But still, sir, a man must have the makings of a president in him.
Well, if a man is a good American, then he has the makings of a president. Oh, no, my friend. The loss of a single man can never hurt this nation. It will always put another man in office and go on. The nation may grieve, it may have a sense of loss, but it will go on.
Well, sir, we'll hope that it won't have to go on without you.
You know, Crook, I love this land of mine. I love our voices, the voices of the storms and the winds, the voice of the hammer and the saw, the voice of the railroad splitting the prairie with the challenge of civilization, the voice of the people arguing and growing by their arguments, learning more and more every day what freedom means and liberty. I hope I shall be listening to them for a long time yet. Don't misunderstand me. I have perfect confidence in every one of you men around me. I know no one could kill me and escape alive. But if it is to be done, it is impossible to prevent it. What is to be, will be. Isn't that right, Crook?
I don't know, sir.
I know. What is to be, will be. Madam President, I'm sure you're the grandest lady in Washington tonight. Turn around and let me view the other extremity of that gown.
Do you like it?
I'm overpowered by your elegance.
Come on, Mr. President. We don't want to miss the curtain.
All right, I'm ready.
Where are your gloves?
What glove? Oh, they're in my pocket.
Well?
Mary, do I have to put them on? They're so uncomfortable.
You're the president, dear.
Oh, well, I never would have run for office. I'd known I'd have to wear gloves.
Well, you can put them on just before we get to the theater. Carriage is waiting. Oh, it's a fine evening.
Yes. Be careful of your dress, my dear. Good evening, Major Rathman. Here, my dear, let me help you in.
Thank you. Oh, how do you do, Major Rathman? It's so nice to have you with us.
Father!
Excuse me, my dear. Tell me, what is the matter, son? What is
I
it?
found out what Good Friday's about. I found out what Easter's about.
Now. Here. Tell me, what is it about, son?
It's about death. They buried him, and they sealed him in the tomb. It's about death.
No, son. It isn't about death. You've missed the whole point. It isn't about death. It's about resurrection.
Do you have to go to the theater?
Yes, of course I do. You know that. But I'll see you when I get home. Maybe I'll wake you up and you and I will have a glass of milk together, huh? Would you like that? Good Friday will be over then.
Yes, Father.
So run along up to bed. Good night, son.
Goodbye, Father. Goodbye, Father. Goodbye.
Well, you've probably figured out by now who the president was when all that happened. It really did happen, you know, and you'll have the answer in just a moment.
During the time the greatest story ever told has been on the air, it has won numerous awards from leading church authorities, critics, and newspapers. But some of the most memorable tributes to this Sunday evening program have been from the listeners themselves. Many of the letters people have written have been letters of appreciation, both to the sponsor and ABC, for dramatizing the powerful, inspiring story of the man who led the greatest life ever lived. Through the years, his messages and teachings have stood out like a beacon, giving courage and inspiration to millions. So listen today and every Sunday for the greatest story ever told when it's heard over these same ABC stations. And now back to Edward Arnold and Mr. President.
Well, I hope you enjoy the play, Major Rathbun and Miss Harris.
I'm sure we will.
We had originally planned to go to Grover's Theater, but Mary thought as long as it was Miss Keene's closing performance, we should go to Ford's.
Well, it's supposed to be a very worthwhile evening.
Here we are.
Oh, look at all the people. Put on your gloves, dear.
Yes, Mary, yes. Come, ladies, let me help you out. I'm sure this will be a memorable evening for all of us.
Right this way, sir. Your box is ready for you, Mr. Lincoln.
Be with us again next week, won't you, for another interesting story that happened in Washington a few years ago to Mr. President. Until then, goodbye.
This program is produced and directed by Dick Woolen. Edward Arnold can currently be seen in the MGM picture The Yellow Cabman. Mr. President was created by Robert G. Jennings. Today's story was based on incidents in the life of President Abraham Lincoln.
Be sure to listen again next week when the American Broadcasting Company and its affiliated stations bring you Edward Arnold with another interesting and factual story of Mr. President. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
The greatest story ever told. This afternoon we present The Betrayal and the Crucifixion, the first of two Easter season dramas based on events in the greatest life ever lived. Our scene, Jerusalem. Great city standing proudly upon the crest of a mountain and crowded this day with worshipers from all parts of Judea and Galilee who have come to pray at the temple and to celebrate the Passover. But by the city gate the crowd is greatest, for many have come to see the entry of one of whom they have heard strange and wondrous tales. And now someone spies him as he rides toward the city gate upon the back of a donkey, and a great cry goes up. And from the cheering crowd suddenly are produced palm branches, and they are strewn in his path. Yet there are many who watch not from the street, but from the high and secluded terraces and parapets of stately buildings and palaces. From one terrace watches a man named Joseph, who is of the place called Arimathea, and beside him stands his wife.
Joseph, how they crowd round him and strew his path with palm leaves and flowers.
Yes, my dear. It's an amazing thing to behold.
They must love him so.
They do. And yet, it's been truly said that no one can be loved by some without stirring jealousy in the hearts of others.
What a strange thing to say at such a time.
My dear, there will be those who will watch and ponder about this thing we see below us now. Yes, there will be those.
And upon the parapet of another princely palace stand two men, one named Caiaphas and another named Annas, priests both of them, and both men concerned by the spectacle they witness.
Hosannas, do you see? Do you hear? Palm leaves and hosannas.
Yes, Caiaphas, but it will pass.
Will it? Have you ever seen such a reception for anyone in your lifetime?
No.
So something must be done.
Done? What? Why?
Fool, he has captured the people. If they follow him, what becomes of us? What is a high priest without followers?
True, but what can we do, Caiaphas?
Well, something must be done. Look at them. Listen to them. Well, this will change. It must change. And I think I know how. So your name is Judas. Tell me, how long have you known him?
It doesn't matter.
Don't tremble so, Judas. You're safe here. No one will ever know it was you. Now tell me how long.
If you persist in asking questions, Caiaphas, I won't do it. I'll leave.
Well, I suppose one shouldn't look for noble qualities in an informer.
You shouldn't have said that.
No, don't go. It was a badly chosen word. Now then, where will we find him?
The Garden of Gethsemane, late at night. But all his disciples will be there.
Then how will we know which one is he?
I've thought about that, too. It must be done in a manner that won't give me away.
And that would be?
The kiss of greeting. What could be more usual?
Then the one you kiss, we take.
Yes, sir.
Very good. We'll be there. Now, how much?
I don't know.
I asked how much.
I don't have time to bargain. I have to get back and join the others for the feast.
Well, then is 30 pieces fair?
I don't know.
Well, what do you usually get?
Now, see here.
Yes?
All right. 30.
I was prepared for that. You'll find the 30 pieces in this pouch. Now, Judas, get on to your feast.
Peter, did you notice?
What, John? You mean how calm and peaceful the master seems?
And look at Judas, the last to enter. He glances about as though he were afraid of something.
The master is the one who should be afraid. His hour is coming as he foretold it to us, yet he's said nothing. He's done nothing.
Wait, Peter. He's reaching for a basin.
Master, here. Here's the basin and a pitcher of water. If you desire to wash, Lord, allow me to help.
Peter, look.
Master, no. You kneeling at my feet. Oh, no, it cannot be. I should kneel at your feet. Master, you wash my feet. It's I who should wash yours.
What I do, you know not, but you shall know hereafter.
Please, Lord, you shall never wash the feet of one so undeserving as I.
If I wash you not, you have no part of me.
Then, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Lord,
has anyone ever shown greater humility?
Now he's beginning to wash the feet of the others also.
If I, then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than the master.
It is somehow the beginning of the end, John.
Yes. as though the washing of our feet were the first step toward what will end as he prophesied to us only 2 short days ago.
If he would say a word or give a sign, I'd offer my life in his place. I would.
No one can offer his life in place of the Master.
Look, he's saying a prayer over the bread now.
And he breaks it into little pieces.
Do you see how many pieces?
9, 10, 11, 12.
Means one for each of us. Come, we must pass them down the table to the others.
This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.
But, Master...
Eat, Peter. The chalice of wine, Master, is that what you reach for?
I'll fill it, Master.
He's blessed it, Peter. Now take it. Pass it for each man to drink.
Yes, John.
This is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sin. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Now I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me.
Is it I, Lord?
Is it I, Lord?
Is it I, Lord? Is it I, Lord?
Is it I, Lord?
Is it I, Lord? Is it I, Lord? Is it I, Lord? Is it I, Lord? He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall he betray me. Master, is it I? Thou hast said. That which you do quickly.
I'm going to stop him, John.
If the master had one of them stopped, wouldn't he have said so?
But you heard it just as I did. What's the matter with all of you? Will you let that traitor go? Will you let him betray the master? Well, I won't. If it costs me my life, I'm going after Judas. I'll stop him. It seems I'm the only one who's brave enough.
Wait, Peter. The master would speak to us. You will all be offended this night because of me.
No, Master. Not I.
For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered.
No, Master, no. If the others be offended because of you, I will not. Oh, no, not Simon Peter. I'd go to prison with you. I'd even go to death with you. Believe me, Master.
I say unto you, this day, even in this night, before the cock crows twice, you shall deny me 3 times.
No, Lord. If I should die with you, I would still not deny you. Not in any way. Not in any way. How many times have we been here in this Garden of Gethsemane, John?
It's one of his favorite places.
Look. The way he kneels off there, all by himself. To know the fate that's facing him and yet not try to escape it.
He wouldn't be the one we think he is if he were to try to escape.
But to die in that way, surely he must know what suffering that means. What a bitter cup it is to drink.
That's why he prays, as he does now. Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Simon, sleepest thou?
What? Master. Oh, Master, forgive me. I had fallen asleep.
Could ye not watch with me 1 hour?
Oh, Master, forgive me. John. What? James. Wake. Wake up, all of you.
Peter, what happened? Was I asleep, Peter?
We were all asleep.
Rise. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me.
Where, Master? I don't see anyone or hear any. Wait. John, do you hear? Marching men. Torches. The clank of armor. Soldiers. Master, there may still be time to save yourself. Come with us.
He won't move, Peter.
Then I shall protect him. I have my sword.
Peter, can you see? Can you make out any faces in the flickering torchlight?
Soldiers, as I thought.
Yes, but that one there. He wears no uniform.
Look. He comes toward us now. Judas.
Go on. Which one is he?
Friend, wherefore are you come?
Hail, Master. I greet you with a kiss.
The one he kissed, please, that one. Wait. First man to touch him will feel the cut of this sword.
Peter, put up again thy sword into his place. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword.
But, Master, shall I stand by helpless? Is there nothing I can do?
The one that Judas kissed. Around him. Lead him off.
Master! Master.
You there. What are you doing here at the palace of Caiaphas at this hour of the night?
Am I not allowed here? Is this so secret?
I'm the sentry on duty here. It's my business to ask who you are.
I'm a poor man who's come in out of the cold of the night air.
Oh, then you can draw up a little closer to the fire.
Thank you. What goes on in there?
Trial.
Who's being tried?
That one they call the Master.
What do they say about him?
Mostly they talk about blasphemy.
He's never blasphemed.
Oh, no? How do you know so much about him? Are you one of his followers, perhaps?
No, I don't even know him.
Then you'd be wise to be quiet.
Yes, sir. Look, the door is opening.
You there, woman. Well, what's going on in there now?
They've just begun to question the Master himself.
What did they say to him? What did he answer?
Are you a friend of his? I think I've seen you with him, haven't I?
Me? No, woman, I don't even know him. That sound.
First sound of morning. What are you so alarmed about, friend?
Nothing. There's nothing to be alarmed about. I wonder how it's going in there. I wonder.
I can find out by opening the door. But be quiet, both of you. Caiaphas is questioning him now. Why don't you answer the witnesses? What are the things they've said against you? I adjure you by the living God to tell us. Are you the Christ, the Son of God?
Thou hast said. Nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven.
Did you hear that? Yeah, we need no more witnesses. You've all heard his blasphemy. He's guilty.
Listen, did you hear? Guilty. They said guilty.
Away from that door. I told you to be quiet. Don't you know you could have got me into trouble shouting that way? They might have heard you and
I don't care. They said he was guilty. Guilty.
Yes, we heard. But why are you so concerned?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's something strange about you. You must know him. You must be a friend of his.
If you are, they'll be wanting you inside, too, now that he's guilty.
No, wait. I don't know what you're talking about. Either of you. Leave me alone. I don't know him. I never did know him. There. You see? You forced me to say it. He said I would. You forced me to. You did. You did.
What's the matter with that man?
He ran off, crying. A big grown man crying. I don't understand. But the one inside, what will they do with him?
Do with him? He'll be on his way to Pontius Pilate now.
Well, Caiaphas, why have you wakened me so early?
If it wasn't important, Pilate, I wouldn't have had you roused.
Perhaps it's just as well. There was no sleep for me anyhow. My wife moaning and tossing from a bad dream. Well, now, what do you want?
There is a man here upon whom the sentence of death must be passed.
Death? What's he done?
Blasphemed.
Blasphemed? Well, then, it's no affair of mine.
Even if he claims to be king here.
There's only one king. Caesar is his name. Oh, this may be serious. We'll have him in. We'll find out about this. Sentry, bring the prisoner in. In here. Well, now, tell me. Are you king here? Well?
My kingdom is not of this world.
Indeed. One who talks of kingdoms could claim to be a king, after all. Well, do you?
Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end was I born into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth.
Witness unto the truth? What is truth? Why don't you answer me? Don't you know that I have the power to have you crucified?
You could have no power at all against me, except it were given you from above.
Indeed. Sentry, take him out of here. This way, King. Strange man.
And what is your decision about him, this pretender to thrones?
It's true he talked of his kingdom.
Pilate.
Claudia, what are you doing here?
Pilate, I heard you talk to him.
Please, my dear, this is no matter for you to worry about.
Have nothing to do with that just man. I have dreamed about him. My dreams trouble me. Trouble me.
So that's why you tossed and moaned so in your sleep.
Pilate, this is no time for concern with dreams. This is a time for realities. What are you going to do about him?
Pilate, please, have nothing to do with him.
Remember, Pilate, word of this will reach Rome.
I see no fault in him. Yet, word of a king reaching Rome. Wait, I know. There's a way out. The custom to release one prisoner to the people at holiday time. I shall offer this man and one other. Let the crowd make the choice. But let it be taken out of my hands. Well, Sentry, where are the prisoners?
Being brought out, Excellency.
The one who calls himself a king. Was he scourged as I ordered?
Yes, Excellency, and even more. Call himself a king, will he? Well, we made a king out of him. We gave him a robe and a crown, too. lay the king before Roman soldiers, will he? Crown of thorns, Excellency. And it fits pretty close around his head. Not the most comfortable crown in the world, eh?
Is that him now?
Yes, Excellency.
I didn't know him with that purple robe.
Purple fit for a king, Excellency.
Bring him forth. And the other one, too.
Barabbas?
Yes, both of them. Bring them here before the crowd.
Yes, Excellency.
Sentry, silence the crowd.
Silence! Silence! The representative of Rome wishes to be heard. In accordance with custom, I shall this day release to you one prisoner. 2 men shall be presented to you. One shall go free, the other shall die.
Sentry, present the 2 prisoners.
Here are the 2. This one is Barabbas, a robber. He has even killed. And this one is called Jesus of Nazareth. He claims to be king here. Well, now, which of these 2 prisoners shall I give you to be set free?
Sentry, you've heard the choice. Turn Barabbas free.
And this one, Excellency? And this one?
Then he shall carry his own cross to Calvary.
Yes, sir.
And one thing more. Bring me a pitcher of water.
Yes, Excellency. A pitcher of water for His Excellency. Yes, sir.
I'll pour it over my hands.
I am innocent of the blood of this just man.
Now carry out the order.
Yes, Excellency. Bring out the cross. Now place it on his back. And now send him on his way down the road to Calvary.
He hangs between 2 thieves, John. Did I follow him all the way from Magdala to see this agony?
And in the sight of his mother.
If only we could comfort her.
How can anyone comfort her? Now that a sword has pierced her soul.
Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Amen, I say to thee, this day shalt thou be with me in paradise. Woman, behold thy mother. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? I thirst. It is finished. Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit.
Hello, this is Father Bob Warren of the Franciscan Friars of the Atonement. Thank you for listening to this rebroadcast of the Ave Maria Hour radio show. The Friars' popular Ave Maria Hour was first brought to the radio airwaves in 1939, recorded in New York City and on the mountainside grounds at Barrymore, a home in Garrison, New York. These timeless classic stories of the Bible and the lives of the saints came to life each week through dramatic reenactment by professional actors and actresses. You know, friends, Christ once said, "Do not hide your treasure under a bushel." In saying this, he meant share your gifts, share your talents. The Friars of the Atonement feel the message in these broadcasts remains as powerful and timely as when they were originally aired, and we are so happy to be able to share them with you today. To learn more about the missions and ministries of the Friars of the Atonement, I invite you to visit our website, www.atonementfriars.org. In the meantime, sit back and enjoy this rebroadcast of the Ave Maria Hour.
The 12th station of the cross. Conscious of the torture Christ suffered, we follow the priest from the 11th station and come to the 12th. Jesus hangs from the cross between those of the two thieves, and he seems dead, for his head is resting on his shoulder. And now the priest kneels.
We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee, because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world. Consider how thy Jesus, after 3 hours' agony on the cross, consumed at length with anguish, abandons himself to the weight of his body, bows his head, and dies. I have merited by my sins to die a miserable death, but thy death is my hope. I yield my soul into thy hands.
Now all these things were done to Jesus, in order that the Scripture might be fulfilled. And when those below were reviling him, the thieves on either side were moved to speak.
Save thyself if thou art the Son of God. Come down from the cross. He said, I am the Son of God. If thou art the Christ, save thyself and us. Let him be, sisters. Barabbas was saved. Why not us? Dost thou not even fear God? If he be the Christ, why can't he save himself and us? Are thou not under the same sentence? And we indeed justly receiving what our deeds deserved? If thou art the Christ, save yourself and us. But he is innocent. Ask him to save us. Can't you help me? We deserve our punishment. But this man has done nothing wrong. Let him be. Then he is not the Christ. Lord, for he cannot save himself. Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom.
Amen. I say to thee, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise. The soldiers divided Jesus' garments among them and cast lots for his vesture. And this, too, that the Scripture might be fulfilled. Jesus looked down from the cross, and at a distance he saw his mother, and his mother's sister, Mary of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene, and his disciple John. With great effort, he spoke to them.
Woman, behold thy son. Behold thy mother.
And these words were spoken first to his mother, and then to John, as a last will and testament, that John would take his mother into his home and care for her all the days of her life, and would be to her like a son. And from that hour, John did as Jesus wished.
It's getting dark. I don't like the look of the sky. Get ready in case a storm blows up. They can come quickly in this region.
Eli.
What's he saying?
He's speaking in Aramaic.
Eli, lema sabachthani.
No, he's calling on Elias.
I thirst.
Soldier, soak a sponge in vinegar water and lift it up to him so he can drink.
Wait. Let us see whether Elias is coming to save
Be
him.
silent. The man's asking for drink. Soldier, lift it up to him. Scribe, I understand some Aramaic. The man wasn't calling on Elias. Now translate for me, and accurately.
He was quoting the opening words of the scripture from the psalm.
What did the words mean?
My God, why hast thou forsaken me?
But he would say no more to the centurion, lest he see that what was written had come to pass, for the scripture had been set down. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are disjointed. My heart has become wax. It melts in my bowels. My throat is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaves to my jaws. And thou hast brought me down to the dust of death. And in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink.
Hold the sponge until his thirst is quenched.
It is consummated.
It's all over.
Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit.
Darkness came over the land, and the earth shook. Graves were opened, and men and women long dead leaped from them and ran about the city, trailing their shrouds. And the prophets of old appeared to many. Within the temple a great curtain was split in two, and on all sides there was terror and wailing. When the crowd at Golgotha saw these things, they began to leave the spot, beating their breasts and loudly lamenting. And many were saying,
Truly this was a just man.
He was a good man.
He was an innocent man.
Truly, this man was the Son of God.
Centurion!
What now?
You have orders from Pilate. These men must be taken down. We have a law.
No need to tell me, scribe. I know it by heart. When a man dies on the gibbet, his body shall not remain on the tree, but shall be buried the same day.
Yes, that's the law.
Since you're so careful about the law, how is it you're still here?
What do you mean?
It seems I heard the trumpets from the temple announcing your Sabbath. Aren't you defiling yourself by staying here?
It's permitted me to see that the law is carried out. Now, didn't I hear you say that this man was the Son of God?
You did. Truly he was.
No. No, you must not say that. It's blasphemous.
Report me to the Sanhedrin.
It's not right for you to say it. You have no proof.
Can you prove he is not the Son of God?
It's written in the Scripture, which is the law. He is accursed of God that hangeth from a tree. Therefore, since this man hangeth from a tree, he cannot be the Son of God.
No matter what your law says. And laws become but dismal words when the spirit that gave them force is neglected. You can't destroy belief by quoting law. Do you think those women standing there, his mother and her friends, will obey your laws and scripture and stop believing in this man? Do you think that those who saw him here today will recite your laws to bolster their skepticism? Or will they remember the words the man said when my soldiers were driving spikes into his flesh, and to those who were taunting him? In judging this man, I know that I shall never do so by the law you quote, but by the words he spoke. Father, forgive them.
I'll speak no more with you. You'll do now as Pilate ordered, or I'll report you.
Men, the thieves are still alive. Break their legs. What will you do with the bodies?
Throw them into the pit.
Jesus also.
Yes, why not?
Jesus is dead. No need to break his legs. Get back! I told you the man was dead. There was no need to test him with your spear.
Look, the man was made of water.
Be gone, you legalistic dog, or I'll kill you.
Pilate will hear of this.
And these things too were done, that the scripture might be fulfilled. Not a bone of him shall you break. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for an only son. And they shall grieve over him, as the manner is to grieve for the death of the firstborn. Now the scribe, running to complain to Pilate, suddenly remembered these prophecies and became greatly concerned. And he slowed his steps, that he might the better consider them.
Wait. That spear thrust into his side. His legs not broken as were the others. And that vinegar to drink. And the casting of lots for his clothing. And with 2 robbers he was crucified. Any item taken alone would be pure chance. But when you take them all, one after another, to be sure he knows Scripture, but even so, he couldn't arrange all these things to happen unless he is what he claims. No, I won't even think of that. It's too impossible, too frightening. Who's this coming?
Joseph Arimathea, what are you doing on the streets? The trumpets have already called everyone to the temple.
I've been to Pilate.
Oh, I was on my way to see him.
I must hurry.
Oh, one moment. You must tell me why you saw Pilate at this time when you should be at the temple.
I went on an errand of mercy.
What errand? You know if you don't answer me, you'll have to answer the Sanhedrin. It's not lawful for you to be on the street.
Friends of Jesus came to me and asked that I go to Pilate and get permission to take him down and bury him.
What? You did this?
Yes. Pilate sent a messenger to Golgotha, and when he learned Jesus was dead, he gave permission.
I must say I'm shocked with you. A man of your standing and a member of the Sanhedrin making such a request? Why? Why, Joseph?
It's proper he be given decent burial.
But you must know what the consequences of your action will be.
Yes. But I fear more what will be the consequences if I don't bury him.
Nothing will happen to you. I urge you not to do it.
I must.
But, Joseph, the man's a blasphemer. You'll defile yourself. You'll be expelled from the temple. You were there in the Sanhedrin when he was tried.
I did not vote against the man.
You didn't vote against him? I don't know what to make of you.
I didn't vote because I didn't think him guilty.
Oh, Joseph, what you're saying, I dare not listen.
I regret I didn't speak out against the injustice. Since I did not, the least I can do is to help take him from the cross and put him in the sepulchre.
What sepulchre?
Mine. The one I've made for my burial.
This is unheard of. Joseph, do you believe in this man?
I've been a disciple of his for some time. I should have confessed it and left the Sanhedrin and the temple, but I was weak. But from now on, I go openly with Jesus.
Joseph, the man's dead on the cross. It's all over. By the time the Passover's ended, he'll be forgotten.
No. He always preached that in order to find one's life, one must lose it. He believed that. And I somehow know he died in order to show others the way.
You don't believe that boast of his? That he will rise again?
Was not Lazarus 4 days in the tomb?
A trick. It was a trick.
So we all said at the time, but we feared it wasn't. For it was from that moment the Sanhedrin conspired to do away with him. And now I see the fear growing in your heart. Why, scribe? If you believe this to be the end of Jesus?
You're mistaken. I have no fear. I'm shocked to find one like you cutting yourself off from the temple. You'll be alone.
Even now, Nicodemus awaits me.
Nicodemus, too. Joseph, I can understand how the ignorant people, the sick, the poor went over to him, but not you and Nicodemus, two of the most learned and honored of us all.
Please, I must be going. We've very little time.
Hurry along, men. The sooner you get them down, the sooner we can leave this place. Throw the 2 thieves into the pit.
Centurion?
Yes, what is it?
Would you please leave Jesus where he is? We'll take him down.
And who are you?
Joseph of Arimathea. Pilate gave permission.
Oh, yes, I had his message. Very well, Joseph. I turn him over to you. What do you intend to do with him?
My tomb is not far away. We'll prepare him in the manner of our people and take him there.
You'll need help.
The women are waiting to wind him in his shroud. Nicodemus is on his way with the spices. He'll help take him down.
I'll leave the ladder and the tools for you.
Thank you.
All right, men. You may leave. Turn in your gear at the Antonia. Then you may go on liberty. Tell me, aren't you and this Nicodemus elders of the Jews?
Yes.
Well, surely old Annas and Caiaphas didn't send you to take him down and bury him.
No.
Then why have you come, even when your Sabbath has begun?
Some of us have come to love him and to believe in him. Centurion, I see Nicodemus coming. Could you leave us so that we and the women might be alone with him?
Yes, I'm leaving. Joseph, in taking him down, take this rope, tie it under the armpits, and lift him up a bit, so the weight's not pulling against the spikes. Otherwise, you'll break some of the bones of the wrists.
Thank you, Centurion. And may the Lord bless you.
And Marcus the centurion left that place and went directly home. And when he reached there, he went to his room. On the wall was the veil which Veronica had handed to Jesus. He looked at it a long time and said again to himself the words he had spoken at Golgotha.
Truly, this man was the Son of God.
When the scribe learned that Joseph and Nicodemus were to bury Jesus, he was greatly troubled in his mind, and he thought it best to go to the high priest.
Joseph put into words much of what many of us have been thinking in our hearts. We told ourselves the raising of Lazarus was a trick to mislead the people, but we couldn't prove it. And now it's said
He will rise on the third day. There's no question but he's dead. But of course, those who believe in him could steal the body, bury it elsewhere, and then say to all that he did rise. But let Caiaphas think of that, as he no doubt will. So many things now come back to me. Like the time he cured on the Sabbath.
Stretch forth thy hand.
One moment. Is it lawful to cure on the Sabbath?
What man is there among you who, if he has a single sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not take hold of it and lift it out?
But the cases are different. A sheep's but a dumb animal, but this man with a withered hand...
How much better is a man than a sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath.
Let that be for the present. Just before you came here, you and your disciples came through the grain fields, and you said nothing to them when they plucked grain and ate it. And this was unlawful on the Sabbath.
Have you not read what David did when he and those with him were hungry? How he entered the house of God and ate the loaves of proposition, which neither he nor those with him could lawfully eat, but only the priests?
No, what you say is true, but that does not...
Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple break the Sabbath and are guiltless?
You no doubt refer to the sacrifices of lambs and flour which are offered for the perpetual Holocaust. But this is done in the temple and not by unauthorized people.
But I tell you that one greater than the temple is here.
Greater than the temple?
But if you know what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. You would never have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath.
Why is it that you, who claim to teach the word of God, eat with publicans and sinners?
It is not the healthy who need a physician, but they who are sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for...
I know the Scripture. You cite the prophet Osee, and the rest of it is, and the knowledge of God more than holocausts.
For I have come to call sinners, not the just.
And then there was that day, that awful day when he reached into my mind and plucked out my very thoughts and answered them. That day the man who was possessed and who was both dumb and blind came, and he cured him.
Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand.
Very true, Master. But what is that to do with curing this man possessed of devils?
And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then shall his kingdom stand?
I didn't mention Satan.
And if I cast out devils by Beelzebub, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judge. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, the kingdom of God has come upon you.
You cast them out by Beelzebub.
Not by the Spirit of God. Not by the devil.
Therefore I say to you, that every kind of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven to men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. And whoever speaks a word against the Son of Man, it shall be forgiven him. But whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven him, either in this world or in the world to come. For by thy words thou wilt be justified, and by thy words thou wilt be condemned.
How could he know what I was thinking that day? How quickly and well he answered us after he put the Sadducees to flight. I think it was Joseph, learned in the law, who put the question that time.
Master, Which is the great commandment of the law?
Hear, O Israel. The Lord our God is one God, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with thy whole heart, and with thy whole soul, and with thy whole mind, and with thy whole strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is no other commandment greater than these.
Well answered, Master. Thou hast said truly that he is the one, and there is no other beside him.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
And all these words came to the scribe and troubled him greatly. While on Golgotha, Joseph of Arimathea, Nicodemus, and Mary, mother of Jesus, and the other women prepared to take down his body from the cross. Silence and desolation were over the place, and Mary, his mother, knew that what was written in the Scripture had come to pass. All we like sheep have gone astray. Everyone hath turned aside into his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his bruises we are healed.